Hello, everybody, and welcome to No One's Listening podcast. This is me, your host, the one and only Nobody. Oh, it's kind of sad. And your co host, Stretch. That should be.
Hey.
Okay, there we go. And our guest today is the one and only, many names for him Square, Jeff, the Sir Squared, whatever.
Yeah, I changed my name a lot. I can't lie. It's way too much. And it always has squared in it.
There's only so many things you can do with a square.
I mean, not to read
And
them out to you.
no, we don't want to know. And to get this thing started, we're going to head and start off and say this will be the final podcast that focus. Well, we won't even say we're going to focus on the council, but this will be one of the last podcasts, unless specifically requested again, where we talk on the council for a good bit. So, as we all know, there's been confusion and a mass. And Square says he's here to clear the air. He says we don't know what we're talking about. Touche, we don't. So, let's get down to. Well, first of all, I think he wants to explain the point system that, quote unquote, no one understands. So let's see. Let's clear the air on how the point system will necessarily work. And then you can kind of add some things you've seen said wrong about the council, some things just what do you think people are misinterpreting when it comes to it?
All right. So the main thing I think that people are misinterpreting is the actual point system part. People think that you have to go between the different leagues and just add up each individual win, which is just not true at all. Because that would be so bad. You would have to count in every forfeit, every single game, every OT win over. It's so much for so many teams, and you have to go through each server, and it's so easy to mess it up. That would be way too hard, way too difficult. But it's the easiest way to put it right now before I actually explain it. It's more based off of like the end of the relegations or like the regular season and the end of playoffs. Like there's points based off of like the end result of stuff.
All right, so let me get this right. You said that there's a point system for the regulation season and the end of playoffs. They're two separates.
Um, you get points after that. Like each week I won't be tallying up points, but once the regular season ends, that's when the points get like counted. And once playoffs end and like someone wins a league, that's when points are counted as well. But they are combined. But
Oh,
I'll get more into it later. It'll make sense when I explain it all.
well, the floor is yours. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Get to explaining.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna go through everything because I have a 17-point PowerPoint,
Oh,
so
please,
we're not
God.
gonna do that. That'll be for the video, which will be coming out this week, so that like everyone actually gets to see like a 10-minute version instead of a hour podcast. But I named it Operation Save Siege X Console, so SSXC. I think having a code name for it would be kind of cool. It could obviously be reworked. Um, but yeah, we do know that there's 4 divisions now. And before I get into the actual point system, I want to kind of explain why I'm doing it, I guess. Because I love this goddamn game. I love this game. I love the competitive part of it, and I see a lot of people are saying, uh, it's console. It doesn't matter as much. It's more casual, which it is. It's more casual than PC. But for the people that don't want to switch to PC to get into things, like I think they're missing out on like what comp can actually be. And when you have like let's say Spartans and 907 winning everything, uh, it's kind of hard to like reach goals, right? Like just losing every major league in the regular season, not even making playoffs, it's tough. It's tough for those teams that are trying to move up, and it makes them want to forfeit. Because I mean, I'm sure you know, and I've heard you say it a bunch. There's so many damn forfeits in there's so many damn forfeits in console. It's ridiculous. But having these divisions and having this point system will give the lower teams, more specifically, a reason to work hard and give them like stepping stones to improve. Um, I'll start off from the bottom. We have Division 4. Those are the teams that are not really in a division. So like It can be mean teams like your little team Rep O Block, where it's a team of a bunch of reps, like you and Stretch. That's just a fun team. Like they don't care about the competition. And there's also the newer teams that will be in Division 4. For them to advance to Division 3, there will be a little tournament or qualifier. The top 4 people of this qualifier will verse the bottom 4 people of Division 3. So there will be like a relegation from D4 to D3, from D3 to D2, and D2 to D1, so that people who are in a division have to stay on their toes to stay in their division, and the people that are getting better have a chance to move up and prove themselves and get a better name. Uh, we'll go more into that later if we really need to. But Division 3, there is no point system for this. There's not a bunch of leagues for this. It's very simple. One league. Right now it's called the Rebellion League, but it will be renamed. It's one league, 12 teams, all will be Division 3. The top 4 teams have a chance to move up. The bottom 4 teams have a chance to move down and be disqualified, or like move down to Division 4. This gives the lower teams that are not terrible a chance to move up. D2, they do have a point system. This is another one of your little mix-ups that you were asking me about. You know, people were arguing and being like, well, D2 teams should get less points than D1 teams. D2 teams and D1 teams will have a separate point system. They will be separate point systems. So let's say Nebula, who's a Division 1 team, have 50 points. And let's say FER, which is a D2 team, have 50 points. They are completely separate. They don't matter right now. They have a different point system for different leagues. Don't get that confused.
Okay,
So
wait, hold on.
go ahead.
It's not a universal point system. It's a point system in every different league.
In every division,
Every division. Okay.
Every division
yes.
has a different point system from what I'm
Yes.
understanding.
Okay, so
Yes, correct.
So there will be no weight difference on a D2 team beating a D1 team versus a D1 team beating a D2 team or D3.
So, yes, correct with that. So like we know that in the Division 1 leagues there'll still be Division 2 teams. If let's say Wild Boys beats FER, that won't give Wild Boys less points. That's just not how it will work. The end result of, like I said, will be what really matters. Because we're expecting the Division 1 teams to make playoffs, right? If there's Division 2 teams in the league, we're expecting them for that. And if they're forfeiting games and they're having problems winning against the D1 teams and they don't make playoffs, that will screw them over. But yeah, I'll get more into that in just a moment. Any questions before I move on though?
I'll let Square go first.
No, I got it.
Okay.
Okay.
I do got one little thing. So why wouldn't? Okay, I hate to rally it up again because Boozer's gonna say something on it, but why wouldn't Beyond 7-0 and Nebula weigh more than? Why would that not weigh more? Like they're not expected to win. I mean, I get maybe a D1 team, beating a D2 team is like that shouldn't be a punishment. They won the game, but I feel like a low D2 or D3 team should be benefited a little more for winning a game that 99% of the odds were stacked against them.
My answer to that is equality. I'll get into that more. I guess it's a kind of hard thing to explain, but if you're over here keeping track of each individual game of a D2 team beating a D1 team, that will take forever to count everything. And maybe let's say early in the season, a team like you said, Beyond, they're D3, but let's say Beyond beats CC when they were good, right? Beginning of the season, everyone says they're the best. And you give them a ton of points. And then the end of the season, CC's 1-7 because most of the players are unpassionate and stuff. What do you do to that, right? That's confusion. People are going to start saying that they're bad and whatnot. That just it's a little bit like more biased, like saying this team's better than that team, whatever. And maybe the D1 teams could fall off. I don't know. I never really thought into a D2 team being a D1 team being more, just because teams have different schedules and whatnot. I didn't want to get into that. But like I said, I'm totally good to make changes. This is just like a general thing so that people will have an idea of what the point system can be. It's like a starting ground, and if we want to make adjustments, we can. Um, but once I actually explain like how the point system is for D2 and D1, because it's obviously way more different than the D4 and D3. Once I explain that, I think we can talk back at this and try to discuss how we'd be able to work that part in, like a D2 team being a D1 team, and seeing if we could find a way to make more points off of that.
I'll say because if it does go through, I think you say equality, but in the end of the day, we're splitting them in divisions, so they're not equal. And then you're splitting the point system, so yet again they're not equal. So that's why I was like, it's inevitable if we're allowing D2 to compete in D1 that there's going to be games they win and lose. Well, since they are D2, there should be. I'm not saying like a regular win is 3 points. Well, if a D2 beats a D1, it's 50 points. I was like, no, that's fucking extra. But I was like, there should be at least instead of 3, maybe it's 5 or 6.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll probably get into just a moment. I just wanted to get you because I'm sure the stream will be long and we'll get into like pretty good detail because I've got a lot of information here. But I was just trying to get like like the trunk of the tree, and then we could talk about the branches right after about like the details of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Just like set us up so we kind of know like the main way to relegate or move up, and then I would tell you exactly about like how you get points and everything.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'll keep explaining, and then you can stop me again if
Oh yeah, you got the
it's
floor. Okay, well, let's get into, I guess. So we got the basis of the tree that. So D4 you said isn't gonna have a point system. That's correct, right?
D4 is nothing really. It's
Okay.
just the qualifier for D3.
No, wait. You said D3 is not gonna really have a point system, right?
D3 is just one league, no point system.
Okay, so really the only focus here is D1 and D2. All right.
D1 and D2, yes,
And they're
correct.
gonna have separate point systems.
Yes, they're gonna have
All right.
separate point
So
systems.
let's just get into how D2 will work.
Okay, perfect. That's exactly what I was getting into. So, there's gonna be 3 different leagues that a D2 team can get points. There is gonna be 2 specific D2 leagues: the Wild Boys Proving Grounds, the Black Hole Challengers. Those will be D2 teams in it and D3 teams in it. Each of them will have every single D2 team, and if a team rejects the offer for the league, that is on them. They have the opportunity to get points from being in the league, but if they reject it, they have the opportunity to. You know what I'm saying?
Alright,
so like it would be fair because they can enter it if they want, but it's just hurting them if they're not in the league.
Alright, so time out. So if D2 and D3 are competing, how is D3 not going to have a point system? Are they going to have it within that league?
D3 is just there to get to like fill spots.
But what if
Like,
what if they start out shining?
If they start out shining, I mean, they better do good in the D3 league. I almost made a point system for D3, but I think it would be getting too complicated with things, and I can always add it if we really need to. But I
Well, that's what I'm
kind of
saying.
need things to be fair.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Per chance, a D3 team wins the league. Well, they didn't have any points count to that, so theoretically, they're still D3 until they win
Correct.
the D3 league.
Mm-hmm. Top 4.
Well, yeah. Either way, it's like I can see where
I know
that
what you're
could
saying.
cause some
Yeah, it could cause
discrepancies.
issues, but that's something that the council could talk about. Because I'm sure by the end of our first season of this point system, maybe a team will disband in D2 and we would just like let them move up because of the disband, and then the rest of the teams could fight for the spot. Or maybe I would allow a team that wins the D2 league to automatically advance. That's something where we could talk about later down the line if people don't agree with it. But right now, I think it would be the fairest thing to assume a D3 team won't be beating out all the D2 teams by winning the league. Maybe they'll make playoffs, an upset or whatever.
All right.
So, I wanted to ask something because to understand a division, I think it's important to understand what characteristics a team has to be placed in the divisions. From from what I'm getting at or whatever, like hypothetically speaking, let's say like the whole end goal of this like tier system is to bring new players into comp, right? Well, let's
Yeah.
say a team comes into comp that no previous comp players, first comp experience, but they're not your like run of the mill like average emerald diamond players. That they're like and you could say like middling champ players, like maybe triple digits, like low triple digits, high double digits, something like that, to where they've never been in a comp setting. But if you were to place them in say D3, they would like clearly be not D3 worthy in the sense that they are better than these people. So like what characteristics should like you resonate with the divisions, I guess?
Yeah, I thought about that for a while too, because I knew that would probably be a problem to stick like a team of top champs in straight into D4, right? Or like D3, it
Mhm.
might not be fair. But I also do think it's unfair to stick a team of top champs straight into D2.
Mhm.
Maybe the competition's good, but people are gonna complain about earning your way. Something that the council has talked about, especially Opie and Four have talked a lot about it. That teams need to earn their spot. They've been very, very. I want to say a bad word, but they've just been very direct about that. Like,
But
uh, Section 8, for example, right? Section 8 hasn't even played a league game yet, right? The team with like ISOA, Zelo, and we stuck them straight into D1 because of the players, and we know that they have been D1 before. But the guys in the council were saying that that's not fair because they haven't played and haven't earned their spot and they might forfeit. Because I do think D2 people underestimate them. Maybe they won't beat like a Wild Boys in like a playoff game or whatever. But when you look at D2, if you look at the teams there, they're like pretty close. Like the 12 D2 teams we have, most of them any D2 team can beat any D2 team, and
Mhm.
at least upset in a BO1 most of those D1 teams. Even if it's like, the subs playing or whatever for the D1 team, uh they're good enough to at least upset in like a BO1. They're good and they care. A lot of the D2 teams care. It's a competitive thing, and I think just throwing a team in there that doesn't really have experience with leagues. Maybe they'll perform well, but I think it'll be kind of be like, what's the point of the point system if we're just throwing a team in here? I think they should have to earn their spot in D3 because then we can see if forfeits are going to happen or whatever. Because at the end of the day, most of these D2 teams are still playing for money, even though if it's not a lot of money. I think sticking them at the bottom, they'll win their qualifier pretty easily in D4, get straight to D3. And then if they're not forfeiting in D3, they'll just play it out for a season, make it a D2, and they're right in the middle of the pack, right? Realistically, to get D2, it'll take one season. It takes one season to get from D4 to D2, but then it'll take a whole nother season to get to D1 if you want it. So we'll know if they're in it for the long run after getting through our system, and maybe that'll help get rid of the teams that like Garfield makes, where it's like a bunch of YouTubers and top champs that don't really care for the leagues.
Yeah, well, when I was referring to that question, I was just using it as an example for like the rank. I'm not even really like saying top champs or whatever. Is like, because you kind of know who the top champs are if you
Yeah,
like play the game. And someone's gonna know someone, you know. But I was saying more like on the grounds of uh like higher numbered champ players that are taking the game serious. They're doing the D3 qualifiers, playing in the season out, but what's to say they even return because there's not really an investment on like their time coming in because D3 isn't gonna have prize pools, correct? It's just
There
a
might
chance to
be.
get into D2.
There, I think we might have an entry, like a $10 entry. It might be small, but I think there might be an entry for D3. We'll see though. But because a lot of those teams care, a lot of the
Mhm.
teams care, and they would put in $10 if it's needed. It's something small, but it's something to work towards. Uh, and then there's also other leagues, right? So, uh, getting into a little bit of a side topic here, our point system has Scissor, Wild Boys, and Black Hole being our top ones. Then there's the Challenger League teams that I mentioned, where D1 teams can't play in it. But there's also those other side leagues, like the Sin League, Champions League, Asgard. Anyone can play in those leagues. Maybe the orgs won't sponsor them, but anyone can play in those leagues. Champions is going to have like a $800 prize pool. That's a league where like the teams, those newer teams that you're talking about, they can join the D3 league to get into our system, like our quote unquote official console system, but then also play one of those side leagues. So they also get more play time, play better competition, and know what they're like working towards. You know what I'm saying? Which is why I think it's pretty important that we keep some leagues not in our system, so that anyone in the public can join them.
Mhm.
But so I kind of see Stretch's concern with this on the top of getting bored. So it's like, yes, you are giving them the outlet of other leagues. Well, who's to necessarily say that they just don't go, well, fuck this shit, and move to just staying around because, just because, like, say they're top champs, they got good game sense or whatever. It's like, theoretically, say they 7-0 in D3. It's like, how many 7-0s are they going to get between D3 and D2 to where they're bored? Or 7-1, 7-2s. And then, yes, it might be a season, but that's a season of the current league they're in. That's not saying that the Wild Boys, whatever the fuck it's called, and then the Black whatever, the
Black Hole
D2,
Challenger and WBZ Proving Grounds.
yeah, who's to say that those didn't just start their season? So now technically they got a whole off season. Well, now they just might be bored as shit, and all they're in is maybe champions. And who's to say Asgard sticks around because he's going to Wild Boys, and half of the Sin League is going to Wild Boys, which they say Sin's gonna stay, but
And lastly, it's just Galaxy, which will have a paid, but
that's a fucking dying in its own.
yeah, we'll see what happens with that league. But
I'm,
yeah, we can always make it like a qualifier for Division 2 and Division 3, like two separate ones, or even we make a qualifier. Whoever makes top 4 makes the qualifier for, or can try to compete to D2, and then whoever is like, 8th place through 5th place or whatever can be in D3. Like we can do something like that, right? That's what I'm saying. Where this is a work in progress, but it's a start for what we've got going on here.
oh,
The relegation phase is like the more hard part. Even though it might seem like it's more simple, it's hard. It's hard to be able to be like, you have to go through 8 months to get in D1. Like that's a hard thing to do, right? Like that's a long commitment. Which is why I like getting feedback from you guys. Unfortunately, when I ask things in the council, sometimes people just don't respond for like 3 days, or just say no and then don't give don't give any feedback.
so
Besides no, this is stupid. Uh,
so
I'm trying to get shit going. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. So before we continue, I do want to put a little shout out though. Like, granted, there's not always an eye to eye scene. Granted, I do have my concerns with certain things that I do vocalize, unlike most people. But like you said, you just get one word responses half the time, or you just get no. They'll tell you why they don't like it, but then don't tell you what
An
would work.
answer without substance.
Yeah, but I will say, like, regardless of all the hate you gotten, and the point system is a pretty risky idea or whatever. Maybe this clears the air. Maybe it makes people more definitive on what they don't know. And if that's the case, hopefully they just open their fucking mouths and tell people what they do want. And I don't want to hear a fucking majors because, I mean, honestly, that's been proven to be
Not yet.
unrealistic, which at this point, I think that's what
Not
Wild
yet.
Boys is building. But
Yeah.
to
Not
each
yet.
their, yeah, oh yeah, to each
Exactly.
to
Not
each
yet,
their
Major.
own. But whatever they're doing, I guess they're doing. They think it's going to fix it, so be it. It might not. Who's to say? But I was like, at the end of the day, I still got to respect you for putting in the effort. Like, everybody else just shits on it but doesn't say shit. They just, no, it's stupid. Well, you're fucking moronic. It's like, okay, why? Because the point system won't work. Why? And then they'll say, well, I want a hyper series again. Well, how you gonna make it work? I need production. How you gonna get that? It's like, okay, shut the fuck up.
No.
Yeah.
The only way a hyper series will happen is if we either all agree on one league or we all make a new one and say, let's just disband the leagues we have going on. And no one will do that because of egos, like we all say
Well,
every time.
on top of
So
this,
there's never going to be a hyper series again.
You got what? 3 consistent casters in the leagues, right? Well,
yeah.
We got some upcoming ones, and we got some that only work for certain people. So it's like you got cards. Well, he's moving to bigger and better things, and he's not going to do anything against WBZ. You got 4 who 1 week loves this shit, the next week hates this shit. 1 week he hates them, the next week he loves them. Okay, he's a little minstrel with his decision making. So let's be for real on that. Like, are you going to stick with it, or are you going to not? Whatever. It's like, so you can't really bounce on that. And then you got Sino, who's like, I'm not paying for it.
He doesn't do casting for console
Okay,
anymore.
so he finally quit console. I was like, I know he was jacking the prices up, but you're doing your thing. No hate on you. You making it. You climbing up there. So that leaves you with what?
I was like, and complexity or whatever.
He don't even count. That dude can barely form a sentence. So I was like, everybody wants to see an SI. It's like, I just get tired of people comparing console to Pro League. Like, you can take things and make it similar, but at the end of the day, it will never be that. And SI works because it's got...
Go ahead.
I say SI works because it's got thousands of dollars of funding. It's got thousands put into production. It's got top tier interviews and casting. And it's got names that grab you. Nobody's watching a game to see the fucking Square and Stretchy 33 play.
Whoa!
I don't play, so I can't say my name.
Everyone loves my
but I mean,
gameplay.
like, you might have 10 people. It's like, no, they want to see fucking stomping. They want to see Bolo. It's like people are refusing to acknowledge who is playing. They want to see that. And I was like, I'm not saying console can't ever be that, but if it were to ever get that, you would have to
be a hyper series.
Well, you would have to
be a hyper series.
Even that's a dead end. I mean,
yeah, but it's the only thing that will work. If you want to.
How long did it last?
Actually reach out. No, yeah, it didn't work long. I'm just saying, if we were to ever get something with like a big audience, like outside of just the people that are in our community, like the people that actually play, it would have to be like a hyper series where it's like this day and this day, there's streams every week, and there's this many games, and it's consistent throughout the year. That's the only way it will work. If it's the match chats like we've got going on now, no one actually knows when the games are. Just like, oh, look, he's live streaming right now. Let me check it out. Never will happen. It just won't. It won't work. Like, we'll get like maybe 30 viewers if you're lucky in a grand final. But if it's not like set dates all the time, we won't get like an actual audience.
Well, on top of that, it's going to take promotion.
Yeah, promotion. Yeah.
Which a lot of people don't want to do unless it personally benefits them. So
and another thing. Go ahead, actually.
Oh, well, that's where I was like, you're going to hit a dead-end peak without Ubisoft support. Because if you get so big, Ubisoft could just shut the shit down, theoretically.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if they would. But
well, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some licensing bullshit they can pick apart. Like, yeah, you're making money off our game, and we're not even involved in it, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wanted to give that little shout out. Like, at least you're attempting to do something.
So one more side thing, though. Another thing that would help with that, which will probably never happen, you say big names, right? Everyone loves G2 because Stompin's there now, right? Everyone loved Dark Zero and TSM because Bolo's there. The rosters keep changing, and there's 10-man rosters, so it's hard to be like, this team has this guy, because the rosters change, and this guy's on a different team now, and it's constantly changing, so you can't really like get to know the cast, if you want to put that in air quotes. People like their like comfortability in teams, or they want a team they can bandwagon off of. And it's hard to bandwagon off of a team if you don't even know who's on it, because there's so many players and stuff. Like look what P did, right? Like if you look at that, normally there's the 5 people on a team. It's very, very simple, right? Like, oh look, they're stomping. But then for us, it's 10 people, and then you'll check back in a week and half the roster's wrong. So it's kind of hard to have that part of it as well. Everyone wants to have a team where they know who's on the team, and probably Wild Boys is like the only team where they don't really change people all that much.
Yeah, that's another thing. Is the consistency, like I think Garfield said earlier, I lose the game, I replace people. It's like you're gonna lose games. It's inevitable. It don't matter who the fuck is on your team. Okay, look at BDS or Team Falcons, whatever you want to call them. At some point, they had the greatest statistical lineup in Pro League. They could never win a finals. So I was like, you're going to lose. It's inevitable. It's build your team. But like people lose. They get mad. I'm sorry, anytime Mutant Complexity put a team together, that's just gonna fail. It's like let's just build teams. Like there are other teams that don't play a whole lot of different people too. Like I think Redemption's been a pretty steady roster here lately.
Yeah, that's true.
Miami Neon, when they were around, was a pretty steady roster. 5.2 was a steady roster for a while. CC was a god awful steady. Well, not awful, but like a
super steady.
Yeah.
That they're set 5. People would always be like, "Oh God, I gotta play CC. I have to play," and then they could name out the 5 like 90% of the time. That was cool. That's something I wish would happen, like a 7-man roster thing, which no one likes, but I think I would like that, even if it was that in ESUB. But regardless, let's way off topic. It's not something. If we have time to yap at the end, we can talk probably about this more. I'm assuming we're going too off topic here. We haven't gone through everything yet.
Okay, well let's just do a long quick on the point system. Okay, how is D2 gonna work? How is D1 gonna work?
Okay, so like I said, so the 12 D2 teams will both be in the Wild Boys Proving Grounds, BH Challengers, and the way I will have D1 and D2, each team has the opportunity to be in 3 different leagues to get points. But there's only 2 Challenger League teams, right? Or Challenger Leagues, D2 leagues. There's only 2 D2 leagues, and they need a 3rd. And like I said, D2 teams can be in D1 leagues. There is 12 teams, 3 leagues. If you divide the 12 teams by 3 leagues, that's 4. We will be assigning 4 teams in D2 in each Division 1 league. So I have I'll read out the D2 teams and I'll make it a little bit easier to understand, right? So let's say for the Wild Boys D1 league, we assigned 4, Akatsuki, Alpha Sigmas, and DME. They can get points in that Division 1 league and that one only. Then let's say Black Hole, Eva, FVR, Nemesis, TSG. And then let's say Scissor, Tsukuyomi, Santos, Genesis, and then BMB, which is that new EU league, or that new EU team. Those teams can only get points by the names or the leagues that I named, to make 3 leagues, right? Let's say 4 though, who was in the Wild Boys League. Let's say they also want to play in the Black Hole League. They won't get points from it. They will only get points from the league that they are assigned to make it equal and fair. Let's say 4, which is, it's not a good example. Let's say DME, right? Let's say that their availability is good and they can play in 6 different leagues. And then 4 doesn't have a good availability, so they can't play in more than 3. Why would it be fair for DME to get points in 6 different leagues while 4 gets points in only 3? That wouldn't be fair, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. So this part we would be able to talk about, and I'm trying to make it as fair as possible, but the teams will be assigned each in one Division 1 league, and they can play in other ones, but they won't get points for the other leagues that they're in. Only will the one they're assigned, so that each D2 team could be in 3 leagues to make it fair. I think that's fair. I think doing more than 3 would be a little too much, but under it would be like not enough play time, not really consistent. It could be outliers because there's not enough leagues. I think each team being in 3 leagues is fair. Does that make sense? I think that was a pretty decent idea to have, and I tried to explain it well. A lot of people in the council were having a little bit of an issue understanding that part of it.
All right, so what you're just saying they get the 4, so their D1 league equates to their 3 leagues.
Yeah, that is their 3rd league. Yes, they
And
will
them in
get
the
their one D1 league and both D2 leagues.
and them playing in the D1 league only counts for D2 points.
The D2 points, correct. It will. The points that they get in the D1 league goes into their D2 points.
And then so for like when they face a D1 team, it's just going to be a regulation point win. Same for D1 versus a D2 winning.
Correct, but
Okay.
the points in the D1 league in general are higher than the ones in the D2 league.
So they are getting a bonus for winning in D1.
For winning, even if they win it against a D2 team, it's still just it's based off of how you place, not who you verse and who you win against. It's based off of how you place. So if you just go into the D1 league, beat all D2 teams, but lose to every D1 team, it depends on whether you make playoffs or not, basically, or like how you place. I will actually have an example of how you get points, or like what the points actually look like number wise, in the D1. I have an example of it written out. So we can get into that now, unless you have questions about D2 first.
You got anything, Stretch?
Yeah, so I guess one that I was thinking of was hypothetically, let's say a new org or a new team is wanting to come in that sponsors themselves or have very limited funds. How would this D2 team or D3 team, or I guess D2, mainly D2, how would they go about getting the most points if they can't enter as many leagues as like a WBZ D2 team when they're like clearly better than them? I guess would be like one way to put
Oh,
it. But
oh.
I'm mainly thinking of like for if they just couldn't like fund up to 3 D2 leagues.
So the D2 team or leagues, I think challengers or the BH challengers is like $10 entry. I think
Yeah.
the Wild Boys might not even have an entry, but it might be like 10 or something small like that as well. And then all of the D1 leagues are 35.
Wrong.
One, if they're good, if they're a really good team, someone will probably pick them up. But let's say theoretically in your case, right? If you're playing leagues, the whole point of leagues is money. You know that there's entry. If you're playing tournaments, right? Like you're spending $55 for your team for one weekend just to lose. So if you're going into leagues, you're kind of like to be in 3 leagues, it's one weekend's worth of a tourney basically. And if you're not able to sponsor that, I mean, honestly, I don't think it's for you to be in the system, even if you're not good. It doesn't matter who's playing. If you can't pay for it, I mean, it is what it is. Which might be bad to say, but I mean that's literally what leagues are. If you're playing for money, which is the whole goal of this, you should be able to work together with your 10 players to get like $55 for 4 months of play,
So
like 3 or 4 months of play, or whatever it is.
So I kind of get what he's saying more, and I like so especially with D1 teams. So you're looking at each of the big orgs have essentially 2 D1 teams, we'll say. Which granted, not I'm still keeping mine at 20 or 25. I'm keeping my entry the same. I'm not going to 35. At least not yet. But I don't plan on it. But anyway, so we'll just say 35 to save the grace.
Yeah.
All right, so that's 70 in one league for 2 D1 teams. So you got 3. That's $210 per org already just in D1 teams. So I was
Yeah.
like, so say that same org has D2 teams. I was like, so you kind of got to play into that too. It's like, yes, you're spending money, but at this point, we're bigger than, like, you could say 55 on a weekend, where if you do win, you get money back. So, and essentially, just in D1 alone, say Black Hole, for example, they're out 210. Say D2, we got 62 teams. All right. Well, no, we'll say 3. I don't even think we have that now, but we'll use 3 as an example. So you got
Yeah.
5. Well, I said as an example, motherfucker.
I know.
Anyway, we'll say 3. So we got 5 overall teams. All right. So now you're at $10 entries, 3 teams, 2 leagues, 30, 60.
I know. You're
Okay.
saying for orgs it adds up, right? Like if you're paying for all the teams in
Yes.
D1 and paying for all the teams in D2.
Well, that's what Stretch was saying, like limited funding. So, like, if they have only
Yeah.
one team, you can make that argument. Well, but it's like, some of these teams, they are, they don't want to pay for it themselves. They want the org. And that's where it's like, say you do have one
Mhm.
guy. All right, just say he has something personal come up. And like, I can't pull this right now. Like, because $10 is okay, but say he can pay the two $10 entries. But you got to play in the third league to get your full points. Well, I don't blame him if he don't want to pay $35, knowing damn well he's not going to win. I can fully understand that. I don't believe in paying, like, what was champions, 50. I'm not paying 50 for a
Yeah.
D2 team to lose. Like, I'm not doing that. I'd be the same with 35. I was like, if I think you're gonna make playoffs, or at least make the first round, okay, whatever. We might have a chance. But if I know you're not gonna make it, I can see the issue with that. And I think that's more of like, another thing to add on to Stretch is, limited funding. It's like they might have the money if they would win. But it's like for you to sit there and put 20, 55, $60 in just to lose, where you can go find easy tournaments to win. There's a lot of tournament servers. And you can essentially probably win one. But even if you do win, you win more. So it's still, what's
Yeah.
the appeal to this?
So, I was thinking, yeah, I mean, funds, yeah, it's rough sometimes. There's two things I have in my mind, and one of them you might say, what if this doesn't happen? I'll start with that one first. If you look, every single D1 team has an org, all of them. All 8 D1 teams have an org. Zave literally, they do pay per win and stuff. I'm just gonna assume if there's a team that's just good enough to get up there, which especially if they have like a 3 month advance to actually get into D1, they'll probably get picked up. But obviously, there's a chance it doesn't happen. But if they know that they can win these D3 or D2 leagues because they're that much better, and an org doesn't pick them up, they'll probably pay for it. Now, the other thing I have to say, if it's a team of just like tourney players who have never seen League before and they want to play it, 55, if you add up the 35 for one D1 league and then 10 plus 10, that's 55. That's literally one roller Sunday. And if it's a group of like mid tourney players, they play that to lose all the time. And they're okay with it's normal for them to play like with leagues it's obviously different like it's regulated or it's like a normal thing now where it's like if you're not in an org you're just not going to pay for an entry. That's just a normal thing for leagues, but with the new players they don't really know that. If they're coming from tourneys, they don't have orgs, they're used to paying for it themselves. 55 to just lose the first game in a weekend, like that's why I don't like tournaments. You pay 55, you might lose your first game and it's just out the window, it's done. 45 minutes and you're completely done. Leagues, if you're spending $55, that's 3 months of playing. That's 3 months of fun and getting better and playing with your team. So, I mean, I guess my argument or my kind of summary of that is like, why are you playing leagues if you don't want to like if you're not willing to spend a little bit of money for like 3 months of play, but you're not willing to, but you're willing to do in tournaments, but you're not able to do it in a league for
So,
like 3 months.
so
Um,
this
my
is. Oh well, you want to go first? Yeah.
I mean, I'll let you go first. You
Oh,
started.
okay. I'll say like this is where I will agree with Brian on. It's like it's more than just the money to them; it's the promise of the after. So, in a sense, that's where I think upping the prize pool is a lot better for leagues because you're paying 55 in a roller Sunday or a weekend per se. You could easily come out with probably 2K. Okay, in a league, we'll say champions back in the day, you're paying 45 for $600 to play for 2 months. It's like in our eyes, yes, you're still paying less, but you're getting less reward. People want to pay more. They are willing to pay more. I guarantee you we could get if if we do a 50 entry 5K, I guarantee you we'll get people to sign up. But 50
Well,
entry
yeah,
on
of course.
600? No. It's not
No,
enough to
definitely
catch
not.
their attention. And that's where I was like I can agree with Brian fully on that. You need higher numbers to draw higher entries, and that's where tourneys excel. It's like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, and that's where
Because
it's
more
the
teams sign up.
yes, that's where it's the catch 22 with leagues. And I also think leagues, a D2 league should not be able to excel so much on this entry like 20. A D2 league should not excel the entry of a D1 league.
Correct.
Yeah, so
I agree.
I should say a D2 should range from 5 to 15, and 15 is really pushing it.
Yeah. Champions did that and it worked well, but that was
Well,
one season. That was the
yeah,
only time D2 ever had a competitive league in like the past like 3 years.
and yeah, those are just like some of my little concerns that can be tweaked later. Which the prize pool they
Yeah.
seem to be going up in leagues now, but on the stretches.
So my thing is again with the way that like you're saying prize pools are. Well, let's say like a new org wants to come into the scene, and they have to have X amount of teams, right? So they're not going to instantly pick up these D1 teams. So they could try to like keep their funds in order. But when they start picking up the D1 teams, um, I feel that like lower like orgs like WBZ and Black Hole that have individuals that can pay the entries intrinsically and not have to like gather up funds, it's like it's kind of hard to justify. So it's like, why would we want to qualify for D1 right now? And another like caveat to that, which I guess my main concern is, uh, the whole point is to get people like into comp, and I feel like we're not gonna have to worry about the D1 for a while, but D2, the way that like how entries are gonna be going around, as from the org point of view, is you would think like they would try to cover both fronts D1 and D2, but fact of the matter is it's probably not going to be like that. They're going to be focusing more on D1 as compared to D2. But like D2 is where most of your like player base is going to be as far as like teams go.
D2 is the backbone.
Yeah,
Yeah. Correct.
you
Yes.
need D2 to be
So
successful.
so what you're saying is what is the appeals to an org picking up teams for D2 or players playing D2, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, D2. So they don't have as high of a prize pool for challengers, right? But one, if you're picking up a D2 team, uh, you're kind of relying on upcoming talent. You have faith in them to move to D1. So you expect them to be better consistently, and you can sponsor them for a season if they shit the bed. You know that there's they're doing it in 3 leagues. If they're shitting the bed in 3 leagues, they're not going to do good. And two, they're also going to be in a D1 league. So if they're really good, they can still win the D1 league and earn the money from that. It's not like they're going to be just sitting there for 3 months as a really good team, but they're not making any money because they're in the D2 leagues. Remember, let's say Wild Boys, right? They have 20 teams in their league, but there's only 8 D1 teams. So those are the D2 teams and maybe even D3 teams still have a chance of being in those higher leagues and making money. So they have a chance. They have a chance to prove themselves. And if the org's like, this team is terrible, I'm not going to invest in them, they'll like no, because the lower teams will still be playing in the higher divisions. They just have to work their way to get up there to prove themselves. Because everyone seems to get mad on having 12 teams or more in D1 in the council, because we have like a smaller community, like it's a pretty small community right now. Everyone's dying. So everyone's super anal about D1 being small. And it's hard to grow that way, like just putting someone up in D1, maybe it'll help grow more people. Like if you get like a stack of Mingo one on them, all them, and just shove them into D1, it might help grow the scene, but then it'll make the people that are in the scene mad. So I don't know, it's really hard to find the balance between um, appeasing and satisfying the new people and bringing them in without making the old people mad, and vice versa. So that's just like a thing that, like, honestly, Stretch Bro, you should be either in the council or in the server. um I need more people to help me with it. I can't really like decide all this on my own, right? Like I'm just trying to make a system that we can start off of so that actually other people can talk and try to help bring ideas on this part, right? I'm making this point system so that there's some type of way for lower teams. It's like I'm thinking more of lower teams than the higher teams to have the passion to actually work and not make a team of like low champs, like top like 8,000 champs to like join and then just leave right away. Because at the end of the day, right, like they're competing for money, but if it's a team of like diamonds that join a team or join a league, and they're just getting shit on, they're just going to disband, right? So I think it was really important to have them separated, even if it's like not a lot of money on the line. I'm sure if they're lower teams like diamonds, they don't care too much about the money. They're focused on getting better and winning for ego stuff. And then the people at the top are the ones that care about money. So I think having the system might be able to separate the like diamonds who just want to play, the D2 who want to get to D1, and the D1 who are up there wanting to keep their spot and focusing on winning like the 1K, 2Ks and stuff like that. And then the orgs will understand what teams are good and what teams are not and who to pick up. Because right now it's paid leagues and it's free leagues. There's Wild Boys, you have 907 there, but you also have R18 there, right? I mean, our team beat you guys, haha, but they were 0-6 or whatever it was in Wild Boys. So having this system will make it easier for the orgs to know who to pick up, and it'll give a starting point for new teams. And if we decide we want to have a way for new teams that are good, like let's example of like Richie makes a team, maybe we can find a way to implement them to get to D2 right away, right? Like maybe a new qualifier or something like that. But right now, since we don't have a bunch of new teams, I think having a starting basics or a starting basis where the small like 50 teams we have can be set in a place without it just being, this is the official D1 team or league, sorry. This is the official D2 league. Having this point system brings the community of leagues that we have together, right? We have the 3 top leagues working together in D1. I thought it was important Scissor being there because everyone loves Scissor, even though they maybe don't like Scissor himself and might complain about the way Scissors ran. They always go back to Scissor. Scissors up there, even though it doesn't have the higher prize pool, people love it. They'll go back to it. Wild Boys, the new upcoming league, right? Like the Brian League. It's got all the funding. It's got Liquipedia. People go there, and NoOne with Black Hole. People just there's not really like much to complain about. It's like an in between of people loving the league for just it being like the OG league and the new upcoming league. People go there. We bring that together. D2 next. People in D2 want to be in D1, so they're going to work hard as lower teams to move up to D1. They're going to work hard and want to play and stay together so that they have the chance to move up. Same with D3, they want to get better. That was the whole point of this for me because I love comp. I think having an official system will benefit the people who actually care about comp rather than just money. That was kind of the whole point of the system. And if it doesn't work, it's cool. But everyone seemed to hate the idea of an official league, right? Because of the egos. Everyone talks about that. Everyone doesn't want, or everyone wants it to be them, as literally everyone says, no one especially. It's hard to find an in between of everything. So I know I'm yapping. I probably yapped for 10 minutes without you guys saying anything. I'm sorry that I haven't been giving you guys time to talk or whatever.
Hey, it's your
But I
episode.
think it was, yeah, I think it was important to have some type of official system, whether it was a point system, a league, like an official league, just something that people can actually look at, like have something to look forward to besides getting grouped as a D2 team in a D1 league. But go ahead. Sorry, you talk.
I was gonna say, so one like why I interrupted you, or I forgot like where at what point you said it, but you said you needed to oppose all the sides, meaning D1 and D2. Well, the whole point of getting this thing is to attract new players. Most of those new players are gonna fall into D2. Realistically speaking, they're gonna fall into D2, and it's gonna be D2 that's gonna be getting the most of the attraction, and like I don't want to say like more focus should be on D2 because it theoretically needs to be as even as you can get it, but like I feel like a lot of the cause for concern is D2, and that's like what it's gonna
I
come down
see.
to.
So hold
Mhm.
on. I think I could wrap it up a little bit of what you're saying. Is right now D1 is 8 teams. We have what, 58 teams, 54, whatever,
It's
60.
like it's like 45 to 50.
All right, we'll say 50 teams. 8 teams are D1. Okay, like theoretically, you only got 12 listed as D2, I think. But I mean, theoretically, we could probably
Yes.
push that number to 17, 18 to that can rotatedly hang. Like, cause there's a lot of D3 that can hang in D2 if they like, if you didn't have to break it down, whatever. I think what he's
Like
like more saying is like everybody's so focused on being D1 right now, it's okay to be D2. Most of everybody is gonna be D2. How do we make that understandable and appealable to like, hey, you're good, you're just not BDS, you're not Team Fat, like T2 and PC, like that's a brag. Like, hey, I made T2 and PC. How do we make that a hey, I'm D2 in console? Not to really correlate the two, but it's kind of I think the point you're trying, Stretch is trying to get at is how do we make that a desirable thing?
Not even really that. I don't, because he did really yap for a while, and it kind of made me like lose track of what I was like my argument for it, the point that I was trying to get across. But like, how to people that haven't played comp before, how do you make League attractive when um we're we're saying that D2 isn't gonna have as much investment as D1, but arguably it's more important than D1. If you're kind of picking
Okay,
up what I'm putting down,
okay. So you're saying the higher
because
prize pool, the production, the more
yeah,
focus shifted at D1 when D2 is just basically
because
getting a $10 entry,
arguably, yeah,
$100.
arguably D2 should be more important, is more important, but it's not gonna have the funding that D1 has with like production. It's not gonna have as much committed staff as it would in a D1 team or a D1 league. Um, what's when new teams are coming in, newly formed teams, why when they can earn more points in a D1 team like Wild Boys, why would they even want to go to like these teams when they could like or leagues if they could farm off of playing your Asgard leagues? or not your Asgard, like your D2 leagues, because Asgard's going to be out of the system. I don't know.
So
I feel like I kind of lost like my train of thought and my like
yeah,
concrete argument. But my whole problem is how do we make the attraction of the new system effective if we're not making D2 and D3 attractive to the newcomers?
I did have
Because it's not
a
going to
thought of that.
concern. It's not going to concern D1 players.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's true. I mean, D1 players, uh, it's kind of hard to balance it, right? Because having, let's say, an $800 prize pool for D2, and then having like a, let's say, $1,500 prize pool for D1, the D1 teams are gonna think it's unfair. It's like, why am I even playing for this D1 league if I could just be in D2 and make $800 free dollars versus these bad teams? So I do think we need the D1 teams to be above, but maybe like in the future, we could have like two D1 leagues and then two D2 leagues. Like we could say champions, which is pretty, I'll say pretty respected. And then what if one of the three big ones step down? Uh, then we could have a pretty big focus on D2. But also, if you don't make D3 and D4 thing, it makes D2 look shitty. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I don't know exactly how right now we can focus on attracting new people, but I think it would be smart, at least
I
for a
feel
first
that's what you
season.
need to do, though. Comp's not going to get any bigger if you're just keeping the same people around. The same
I
people that aren't
completely
committed to the new system or to the
I
system that we
completely
have
agree.
currently. Like you might pull in
Like a team or two. Yeah, old players and a team or two.
old players, but like the most like important thing is we need new people.
That is
We
true.
can't be content with what we have right now.
Yeah.
So like I do really I side with Stretch a little on this is what, and I've even kind of said it in the chat. Is I don't think I've said it. I think it's once, twice, but it's like D2 does have to be desirable because that is where most of the meat is gonna sit right there. Like that's everything.
Yeah.
That's gonna be where the newfound teams are. That's gonna be the next upcoming star is. And I was like, I get the want the appeal for D1. That's gonna be your good, your high IQ games, your high gun skill games. But at the same time, we can't just sit there and treat kind of like D2 is treated now, like Galaxy League. Like you can say the Challengers League right now. You can say what's another D2 league or whatever. Like
Wild Boys Proving Grounds,
well, that hasn't even launched
the
yet. You say
Rebellion
like
League.
Forever League was. It's like nobody really like. Oh well, here
Cares.
play your games. We don't give a fuck about you. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, we want to stir away from that. Where maybe these casters like Clicks, like Pickles, like maybe they can, not saying be super production, but the console casters, the people that cast from a console system, maybe they could be the ones to make D2 a little more entertainable.
Yeah.
They're not going to have the high production and they're not going to have the game IQ to really be like a D1 per se caster, but at least they're getting that attention. They're making D2 seem a little more desirable. And then maybe a slightly higher prize pool than free entry, no prize pool, you just make it to D2 or D1. Or, maybe a $10, 15 teams, that's $150. I was like, it's something more than just $50. Something that just
Mm.
makes it just click, but it's getting everybody on the same page that has been the biggest challenge so far.
Yes. And I do have a counter to what you're saying, right? So for a big system, like a huge, honestly, this is probably the biggest change in a while, right? I mean, you could probably agree, right? Like if something like this were to come through, it's a really big change, and people don't like change, like you say 100 times every day. Um, but my counterclaim to what you're saying is, um, I don't think bringing new people would work if we can't get the people that we already have to like the system. And I know the Wild Boys group is doing their little collab, which I won't say anything about besides that. But I think for maybe season one, focus on does the community that we have right now accept the system that that's getting implemented, and then if it does work and it moves smoothly, then we could start thinking, all right, what changes can we make so that new people will be able to fit into this? What can we do? Whether it's, like I said, sorry for an example, but Black Hole moving to D2, Champions in Black Hole being the big production D2 leagues, and Wild Boys and Scissor being the big production D1 leagues. And then having those other leagues be the D3 leagues where there's not as much production, but there's still like something official and like real about it. Um, but for a first season, if we want something like this to work, bringing in a ton of new people and keeping the old heads in I feel like it will cause it to crash. I think things will get unorganized. I think we got to focus on who we have right now, and if it works,
But
then
at
then change things.
at the same time, right now, you have to convince them and make it work. So giving D2 that platform can help the upper edge of convincing them. Like, okay, we're not just casting it aside. Not saying it will sway the older people because they're kind of comfortable where they are, but I mean, at least it shows like, just let it air out. Like, hey, we want to include y'all too. We haven't forgot about you guys, the Alpha Sigmas, all of them out there. I don't know. I've had too
Let's
many.
see. Well, here's something else that I'm thinking of before we get too far off track. Um, for this whole thing to be successful, we have to see some change, right? And the whole argument is, but we have to keep our people that are currently here, our older people. They have to accept the change and adopt it at some point. Well, I feel like the only way we can measure the success of this like change is by if we get new people. Like I feel like first and foremost, the goal is to be attracting new people. Not saying we leave behind the old people, because I feel like the old people that are still here
They're
are
gonna be
always
here.
going to be here regardless of the change, because they accept that in console this is as far as they're going to go, and this is like what they pay for every 2-3 months or whatever. They accept like what's going on, and they're going to want change more than likely. I feel like they're going to be they're gonna find more production attractive, more change attractive.
Mhm.
But the only way to make what we have planned better, the only way that this new system gets better is if it's successful with new people.
Yeah.
And I feel like such an appeasement on the old guard is not the way to go about having that the vision, especially in like the council.
Yeah.
So like I'll second that. Like Square just stated, and I'll state it again. It's like there's got to be a change that they're not gonna like it. So appeasing to
Mm-hmm.
them isn't really going to help you because
Because you
they're
can't appease
not
everyone.
going to like change. They're comfortable where they are. Not saying they won't like it 3 weeks after the change implements. They might love it. It's the idea of the change. And that's what people don't like. So you kind of got to take a step. Like I agree with Stretch. They're gonna do it. I don't give a fuck what they say. They're gonna pay. They're gonna play. That's what they've been doing for 3 years. They've been complaining about the scene for 3 years, but what do every single season? They sign
They do
up,
it.
they
Yeah.
pay, and they play. Yeah. So
So
you go ahead.
I was gonna say, so again with that, D2 needs to be successful and needs to be attractive to pull in the new players. But I feel like more emphasis on D2, like maybe because the way it is now, D1 and D2 is based solely off of skill. right? I feel like we can agree it's mostly based off of skill, not solely,
Yeah.
but mostly. That's what it based it off of. Well, if we're breaking D1, D2, and D3 up by skill as well as like production value, I think if people are comfortable with D1 how it is right now, Scissors League, WBZ League, and Black Hole League, with say production, because I want to use production as my example. Maybe we leave D1 how it is right now. Maybe like introduce the point system, but like say production. Maybe we add more production than what's standard right now. Maybe we use D2 as a testing ground for new features. Maybe we go harder on production. Maybe we go harder on rule changes like 7-man rosters,
So kind
one
of like,
roster change per week,
so kind of like
stuff
the
like
test
that.
server for Siege.
Yeah, I don't want to say a test server because
Well,
that makes it think that it's
a,
less important.
a testing
I feel it's
ground.
almost more important. I feel like if D2 is successful how it is right now, we need to make D2 more attractive to the new people. Because at the end of the day, that's what the whole goal is. That's why I'm harping on it so much.
Mm.
Whole goal is to get new people.
Yeah.
Well, I also feel like if we implemented more, I say more cause, more effort in D2 than we do D1, since people are content with D1 right now, that would make it more attractive, let you test out new stuff, and by testing out new stuff, say that one roster change per week, 7-man rosters, that's gonna make it seem more professional than it already is. It's gonna make it seem, or it's theoretically, it's gonna make it more professional in the sense that people are not gonna be forfeiting as much. People are gonna put more time into fleshing out their rosters. People are gonna just try to be better teams, I feel like. And maybe that's where like the struggle with D3 comes into play a little bit, because they'd kind of be like, well, what are we doing at this point? But I feel like D3 needs to be qualifiers.
Well,
In my opinion,
they're getting their foot in.
yeah, well, I feel like D4 shouldn't exist. And like
Yes.
we're kind of branching into a different topic. In my opinion, I don't think D4 should exist. D3 should be like the entry level and like the qualifiers and all that stuff.
You think there shouldn't be a D3 league, but rather D3 is just a qualifier? Every team's D3.
More or less.
Okay.
More or
I see what
less.
you're saying.
So they just
But
kind of
also,
But my main point, I didn't even mean to bring it up. It just kind of fell into
yeah,
conversation. Is
yeah,
like more effort should be put into D2 if we want to test out new things. But I feel calling it a testing ground is a little
pretty,
disrespectful, and it
yeah.
makes it
Mm.
seem
well,
that it's not as important.
well, that was just more like a comparison.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no, because without the testing ground, what is Siege really? I was like, it's the testing ground is kind of the backbone for feedback. Like, oh, we need to
Yeah,
nerf this. We need it. Without the testing ground, we're just thrown into a broken game on
yeah,
Yeah.
opening season day. So I was like, yeah, it's not disrespectful. It's just, y'all are the backbone. Y'all are the majority. D1's is ultimately not gonna like any change up front. D2's gonna be more open to change because
Hmm.
D1's gonna be more your old heads. It's gonna be more of the people that, well, this might prevent me from winning as much, or creating a loophole in the system.
yeah,
Whereas D2 is gonna just be like, well, I just kind of want to play the game. Like, I really don't care. So
Yeah.
it'd be a great opportunity to use D2 for that.
yeah. It's true.
But I
But
also feel like it wouldn't be necessarily as hard to get them on board with that, because obviously they're committed to the game and to like getting better. And I want to say this using the past tense. They're more committed to the system that we have currently, where they want to get better at the game. They want to make leagues better. So they're going to accept change more easily than reluctantly as compared to D1.
Yeah.
I feel like most D2 teams are gonna be okay with that, and then it's really gonna like show your outliers on the graph of skill level of D2 teams, or where if this team belongs in D3 or maybe this team belongs in D1. Like stuff like that.
Mhm.
I think the whole system's just become comfortable and it changed, and then it's like anytime, like you can kind of compare it to video games using Pro League for their changes. Like, yes, they're going to hate 90% of the changes that come into it, whether it's good for the game or not. It just changes what they're used to. So you can kind of look at it in that aspect, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
it, yeah, okay, like I said, like like everybody goes, oh, they only listen to the streamers, they only listen to Pro League. It's kind of like, well, yeah, well, they might have listened to them, but Pro League would probably still complain about it just because it changes how they have to play. So
Yeah.
that's where I was like, I do like the idea of making D2 feel a little more important, like
Yeah.
not
Which
just.
is why I gave them the point system rather than just like one little rebellion league. That's why I try to get them something where they can get points while working with D1. Like they would be in a D1 league and they have to try hard in that league. Cause quite frankly, playing comp, like I wanted something official, right? Like as a player, I love playing. Like I know I do all this other stuff. I love playing. I remember when I first started, I went to like Jaeger League and like every single game, me and my friends were so hype about like Tuesday's the game and like it's the week before and we're like counting the days for that game. Or like when we first got into Scissor, like we would count the days for the game because we like really wanted that. But now it's just kind of like, oh, we get Galaxy game this week. That's cool. Oh,
But
we
would
got
you
another
say
Wild
that
West
that
game.
happens when you were a newer team and a newer player?
Yeah, newer
Because
team, newer
of
player.
because the rules set then was foreign to you because it was like brand new, so it's like foreign territory, and that's what like made the game attractive.
Yes.
So don't you think that like what I'm harping on, making D1 or sorry D2 attractive with changes, is like the more important thing? Because
Oh,
now you're
I totally
here
agree.
and you're a long-term player at this point.
Yeah.
Well, one thing
That's what I'm saying.
one thing like I'm experimenting with next season is just like changing wise would be like, to me, the map ban system. Like I can't stand consoles map ban system. That shit be drug out for like with Yotai. When I do them, I think we're only in like 2 leagues. But when I do them, I'll finish my map bans in a day. I can't stand when people take more than I get it, but it's like you're probably in your own team chat talking and yapping away. It's like I can't stand when it takes 3 to 4 days to schedule a game. That's why it's like I'm in like Black Hole, like schedule your game, then ban your maps.
Hmm.
And it's like
Hmm.
that's something like I want to implement. Like there's some changes I want to implement slowly that I think Crypto's the one that we had on that said it is like kind of every league needs its own niche.
Yeah,
So,
that's what. No, that
oh,
was
was that
what
you?
my arguing. That was my arguing
Okay.
point. I was saying like to make leagues seem like it's not so cookie cutter and stale and boring, quite frankly. Every league needs to have their niche, their kind of like identity that's like different from another. And I feel like that's one like with Hyper Series, they had a lot of identity because a lot of the rules were foreign even to players that have played comp for years. The the event of doing map bans on the day of, or not on the day of, or yeah, no, sorry, on the day of, was brand new to almost everyone, and like it gave admins less of a job to do. It gave players more responsibility to do. It weeded out the teams that weren't committed. That's like one identity niche that they covered. Another was the set days with scheduling. Another was abiding by cities, not teams going by, um, say 5.2 in
Name.
FVR. they were Dallas, Las Vegas, something like that, to where it kind of like leagues just haven't done that before then, and even since then, leagues haven't done that. And I feel like leagues need to create their own identity and own niche to seem more expansive than what it is, more fun than what it is.
So
Because right now, it's very cookie cutter, and I feel like even when we expand into this new system, it's gonna feel a little cookie cutter. Maybe not as much, but it's still gonna feel the same because all the D1 leagues are gonna be ran the same. All the D2 leagues are gonna be ran the same.
Slightly different. Just yeah, the same format, same that type of like. There's little differences. Like Wild Boys is Swiss. That's the only Swiss league. Scissor has their little groups, which is one of the reasons why people are excited. Like they can't wait to see their groups. And then Black Hole, it's split into the two instead of four. So they all have like
Yeah.
little things, but in the grand scheme of things, they're all kind of the same, like you said.
So one thing I want to
Mhm.
do is I want to bring back, like, I want to take on the SSL, but like I heard you talk about Hyper Series, I thought about that. Like the theme that I choose or that we vote on is gonna be like the overall theme. That's gonna be like your team names theme. That's gonna be like,
Champions did that with Star
hmm
Wars.
yeah. Well, no, that's just they didn't make the team.
Individuals.
Yeah, that's individual. That's the same thing I did in
We're talking
SSL.
about teams.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like so. Say next season, season 6, Black Hole's theme is your anime. Your favorite anime, whatever you want to talk about anime. So I'm thinking of, um,
Your edge runners.
yeah, your
Your
edge runners, your the oh shit, I
the Hidden
blank.
Leaf Village, something like that.
Yeah, like you're the fucking Hashiras and shit like that.
It's
Like
what the team abides by, not what the individual abides by.
yeah, and I'm thinking about
Which
doing something like
it's
that.
cool. It's cool. It's like
It doesn't
it's
seem like a lot, but to an individual person, it's like, man, that's a cool idea. Like that's
it's
actually
a.
cool.
I feel like players would appreciate that, and like again, that's a signifier between, oh hey, Black Hole is doing this cool thing, and then you got your default Wild Boys or whatever. That's one way you can tell the difference between them two.
Yeah, and then like
Because I
that's
don't
what
know for you specifically, Squared, but I know like my guys, for example, they're not in leagues, like in the match chats, or really like talking for that matter, because there's just nothing really like fun, I guess, or
Yeah,
like a reason to be in there.
and like
But
yeah, I'm
you
like
in the match chat.
if you added something new for them to mess with, then why not?
And then that's where I was like, I want to change the banning system. Like, there's a lot I want to do, but I like slowly implement it. But it would be
A
not,
Yeah.
reload league would be cool.
yeah. Do
Yeah,
what?
but I feel like D2,
Yeah,
if we use that as a testing ground,
that's
that'd
where I
be
was gonna
like
tie in.
a
Like,
proper way of doing it.
it'd be so much easier to have everybody come together on these ideas, where it's not as punishing for D2. Like, they're gonna play. There's a 90% chance they're gonna play. There's a 100% chance they're more willing to play than the D1 guys.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And then that's where it's like, cause like I'm doing the mad band regardless, just cause I get so tired of babysitting people in the match chat. They forget the shit happens. I mean, can't really fault them too much because oh shit, I forgot to do that because the other dude took an hour to reply. Well, now that you took 6 hours to reply, I forgot, and there's another 6 hours. Like that shit's just
Hmm.
annoying.
Yeah,
How I'm gonna do it, whether I use like map ban or something, I don't know, cause I think they're doing away with map ban
Matt
because of
Bench,
the little,
GG.
yeah. But I think they're doing
Well, I
away with it
think
because of the little use.
even if you left it up or whatever, like the default message in the match chats, that'd be fine. I know like you're more moving or wanting to move away from like traditional match chats are and just kind of let teams be at their own will, but I think the way of properly doing it was make your match chat schedule ahead of time or schedule first, and then on the day of 45 minutes to an hour before map time or game time, that's when you do bans.
Well, that's
When
what I was
teams are
actually.
expectant to play.
That will
That's
get
what.
other players involved too, because
Well, that
sometimes the
yeah.
rep
That's
won't
my
be able to
number
get
one.
involved.
It just isn't available.
I
Yeah.
would say that's my number one choice right now. Map ban's like my third. Like I don't really want to use an external software because it is console, and you come
Yeah.
across that that weird area. Cause that was my main thing was in the default message like, hey, schedule your game. We'll do map bans, or if they want to do them after they schedule, I don't care. You can do it, but schedule the game first.
Hmm.
That way, you open up more because let's be honest. I mean, Stretch. I actually Square. You're a rep too. There's a lot of match chats that Monday through Wednesday is you're cooked because you're not getting bans done till Tuesday night, Wednesday
Yeah.
night.
I do the time first sometimes. So I'll do like one ban and I'll be like, does this day work for you or
Yeah,
this
I've
day and this
noticed you
day?
do that, and then Stretch will sometimes in the
And then
middle of
they'll
map
ignore
bans.
me.
I know the Stretch will do it. We're available Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. All right,
Yeah.
ban chalet, and it's like when people take forever, they don't see it that way. They see, man, you can't play the weekend. It's like, dude, you skipped 4 fucking days to ask me if I can play one day. So it's
Yeah,
And
like,
they take
exactly.
yeah,
forever,
yes, like it's
like
that's some
like FVR,
like fucking Henry. Sometimes it's like, dude, you've
Henry
waited.
and Santos.
Yeah, you haven't banned one map in 2 days, but I'm at fault because I can't play on fucking Friday.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like that's what I want to get away from. It's like you just, all right, let's play Monday, ban maps. Okay, you got no choice but to ban these maps before the game
Yeah.
time you agreed to.
Yeah.
And then
And
it
also,
appeals to scrims more instead of just banning
mhm,
like, oh, what map are we gonna play them on? I don't know. We got Monday. Let's try to do a scrim on this map, scrim on that map, scrim
Yeah.
on and shit like that, rather than just trying to pick your best map and doing nothing about it.
Yeah.
yeah, because so I guess this is like a good like segue to like kind of move from the divisional things, like just getting more teams involved into playing the game. I feel like if we went to this ban system, kind of like how Hyper Series was, it puts a more emphasis on teams trying to find their good map. Like, like for example, more teams are reluctant to play your skyscrapers, even though it's not in the system anymore. Let's like use Fortress. More teams are gonna want to say, "Hey, let's scrim Fortress to get ahead on these other teams, and let's start banning out like default maps, like your clubhouse, your cafe, stuff like that." So they're gonna pick up these other maps and scrims or whatever that's not as attractive to play. So like they could use that to their advantage in bans in the day of. Like, hey, this team might not be as prepared for these maps. Let's ban all the default ones out anyways. Let's make them uncomfortable, make ourselves comfortable. So it
Yeah.
obviously it shows who's more committed, like team wise.
Agreed.
And then it just like I feel like it's healthy all around the board. It doesn't really help or hurt anything. Sorry.
And well, that was the other reason. Like, my niece was kind of the double roster. I allow it, but then at some
I
point,
hated it.
well, it was a niche because at the time I only did it
Not
because
specifically
I was
you.
so
I'm
getting
saying
I
in
was get
general.
oh I've grown to kind of dislike it. I don't mind
Yeah.
it in moderation, but it's like when you got one dude on 3 rosters.
Aquino.
I'm not naming
Yep.
names, but yes. But when you got one whole team that had like a team's about to disband. Like you can say Velocity and Nebula right now. If Velocity made the playoffs and Nebula, because I don't do double rosters in the playoffs. If Velocity and Nebula made playoffs, it's like that destroys both their teams.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And I was like, all right, y'all got a little carried away with it at this
Bored
point.
enough to revoked.
So yeah,
Yep.
but then at this point, I was like, even they could separate though. Like they had no problem in my league separating them.
Mr. No One.
What?
Funny enough, this was the whole reason why I made the council. Not to make a point system or an official league or anything like that. It was that if we made little changes, I didn't want to bring this part up because I was super like go for 8-man rosters and Brian like wanted to call me out for it. But stuff like this was why I made the council so that if we did decide to make a change like the map ban system, it'd be like a universal thing where we have like all the heads that can kind of just be like, we like this idea, let's do it. Instead of having to like contact individual people and then it's like split like these two teams do this, but then the rest of them disagree, and so they're all the players will complain because the majority of leagues don't do this. That's kind of the reason why I made the council so that the
But
top like head people could agree on decisions like that.
at the same time, it's like I told you, it's like you got a server full of people that aren't really leaders; they're more followers too. You run into that issue
Oh,
of this.
Brian.
Well, I ain't saying names because I don't even really know who's in the council anymore. But I was
There's
like,
like 15 people.
you got people who haven't even done, like, to me, I think to even qualify, you at least had to have done something. You got people there who haven't done shit. I'm not talking about on a team that made a fucking finals. It's like you haven't done shit. It's like Stretch
Like,
for
what's your
it.
contribution to the community?
Yes. It's like Stretch. Stretch has been around for years. He's been here forever. Like he was at the start of SSL. You were there with Hyper Series, weren't you?
Yeah.
And I said he has had a name that's been consistently mentioned forever.
Mm-hmm.
So
He
I was
should be
like,
a council member.
that yeah, like he should be a council member.
Would he be
But
down, Stretch?
I mean, yeah, but like my biggest thing is like if you're not a council member, you're not gonna talk in there for like one thing. But I feel like
People
that's
definitely
just
talk in there.
another argument or whatever.
People do talk in there. 'Cause I don't know if you're in the server or not, but there's like
Yeah.
there's a private channel that has like the council members, which we do talk a lot in. And then there's the discussion opinions channel where like anyone can talk in, so the council members can talk. And both of those are chat out. It's the like general chat. It's not really talked in, but
Yeah.
those two are talked in like a lot pretty much every day, except
but
for when no one puts in like a crickets gif
oh yeah, but
or GIF whatever.
like to counter my example, it's like besides being like recruiting a good team and just being handed a league because you turned it down, what has somebody like Garfield done? Like, no disrespect to the dude, just honestly.
Well, it's more because he owns the Champions League, and we have to be able to communicate with them, and we want him to be caught up on things.
You can just talk to him. But my thing with the
Yeah, I
council is
guess.
like I would even say if I haven't done anything, kick myself out of it. It's like I think it should be people who have done something for the community.
But does it hurt to have Garfield in there? He's there. He
No, it
owns.
doesn't. It doesn't hurt.
Okay.
It's just
Yeah.
necessarily like
It's not needed.
what have you done for me lately versus what have you done for me now?
It's the point of what are you going to do to make a change? It's like the people who have made an impact are willing to take the step to make the change and buckle down, not just sit there and disagree and shit on everything or try to start shit.
There's only like 3 people that do that.
There's
in my
more than
opinion, in
3.
there. Okay, but I do want to say before we end the stream, because we've probably been doing this for like probably like an hour and a half or something crazy like that. The part that you would like about the point system, I could explain it in 5 minutes. It's like the D1 version of the point system, just so you have, because we kind of went over like the relegations part of things and like the D2 and stuff, but and you know there's a lot of things or comments you guys had to make, like the you know, D2 being like the big following and trying to get more people in. D1 could be more of like, if we do want to make changes to what I have made, D1 could be more of the like the tighter circle of like what we already have, because it's the better teams and whatnot. So this would probably be the point system I have would probably be able to be implemented in D1, but then changed in D2. If you guys want, I can explain it in probably 5 minutes. Just let me know. Yeah, I can explain it right now. I've got it pulled up on my power. I've been here watching it, wondering if we were gonna run out of time.
I mean, we have unlimited time. Feel like
Yeah, that's true.
it doesn't. Yeah, I'm okay with it.
And you want to hear it, NoOne?
Go for it.
All right. So my first example, or the only one I'm gonna say today, but I have charts for the 3D1 leagues. There are 2 different charts, which you'll see in the video I'll make and post in the council Discord. But we're going to use Wild Boys as the example. So in regular season, let's say, you know, there's 6 weeks. Teams can end up 6-0, 5-1, 4-2, all the way to 0-6. Teams that are 6-0, let's say, would get 50 points after the regular season. This is how I have the example. 5-1, 40, 4-2, 25, then 15, 10, 5-0. having these points all the way to 0-6 will make it so that every game, in air quotes, matters a little bit, right? If you're 0-5 and there's 1 week left, you know you can't make playoffs. You might forfeit or not try or not care. But the difference between being 1-5 and 0-6 could determine whether you get relegated from D1 down to D2. And then in playoffs, I have round one. The playoffs would work. 12 teams make playoffs. 1 through 4 get a bye, and then once you get the top 4, it's double elimination. So round one of playoffs, for the placement of 9th through 12th, you get 15 points. Let's say. So basically, qualifying for playoffs, you get 15 points. Round 2 for 5th and 8th place, 25 points. Round 3 double elimination starts, so you won't lose or gain points because no one's getting eliminated. And 4th through 1st place, it's 50, 75, 100, 200. So as you can tell by the amount of points you can get, has nothing to do with you win a game, you get 3 points. You win an overtime, you get 2 points. It's a system based. You get points based off of your overall performance, and it rewards consistency over random upsets. Like, for example, Eva, when they would beat 907 and then lose the next 6 games in their league. But yeah, it would be like different amount of points for each of the leagues, and it'll give the lower D1 teams they have to fight for staying in the league. Like Pit Wrath, for example, right? Like we put them in there, they had their upsets, they did good in Scissor, but can they be consistent enough to stay in their league? And I have another chart which you'll see later where it's like a point system. 1 through 7, they're safe. They stay in D1, but the 8th place, but after the end of the season, when the 3 leagues finish out, they will have to play top D2 teams or whatever it is. But yeah, I mean that's basically. I told you it'd be pretty quick. The points, obviously, we can adjust the amount of points. And then I also had it to where after the season there will be 10 D1 teams, just to branch it out a little bit more. People will have in D2 will have to earn their spot by performing well and being consistent. Any questions though? That's it. I didn't want to go too far deep into it.
Nah, you're good. I'm sure we'll for sure have you back to see, maybe after we start implementing it. Because I said I would give it a shot rather than everybody else tries. Wild Boys I think is on the verge of dipping out to do their own thing.
Yeah, which would kind of suck. That would kind of ruin everything.
Well, then you would just have to hope champions would be willing to be the second redheaded stepchild again, and just fill in the slot. Which I don't know. Like I said, I told you from the start I would give it a fair try. I feel like I'm one of
Yeah.
the only people that is trying
Brian
to give
even
it a
said
fair
it.
try.
I've seen Brian said he would try it.
Yeah, well, it's him saying and doing. You're a little different, you know. Which
Yeah.
I mean, I can't hate him. He's trying to build something. Whatever.
Mhm.
However you feel about him, you feel about him. I personally really had no issues with him,
I like Brian.
like
He's
big
cool.
issues. But that's where I was like, I said I'd come in with an open mind. I'd give everything a chance because it's a change. It's like a change has got to happen, and people aren't gonna like it. And the fact that you've looked over all the bitching and complaining, I give it to you. It's like
Yeah.
I'll listen to it out. You might not always be the brightest sometimes because you'll be asking a dumbass question that's been answered already 32 times. But so are a lot of people in there. And then like I say, kudos to you because there's some people that all they do is shoot shit down and they never give no useful insight.
Yeah.
No, I'm dead.
Exactly. No, there was no useful. Every time I brought up a point system, it'd be they would say you have to earn your spot, but the point system's stupid. You have to earn your spot in D1, but the point system's dumb.
But
And
it's
I
like,
feel like, go ahead.
oh, I was like, well, it was off of it is not regarding the point system. But I was gonna say like another thing is like I don't you said it earlier. It's like I don't despise the invitational / majors idea. I just don't like the fact that people will change how they view it based on where they stand in that idea. Like, I can go and tell you people I wouldn't want in it. Like, do I think I should? Like, I think I'm a great, like, I make shit happen with no money.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think I should be included in it. You're going to need the money guy, which is where the one and only, whatever his cringy bad Brian Bad Discord name is. But, it's like you
Yeah,
kind of
like
need.
because Wild Boys isn't gonna do it if they're not
Yeah, they're not going to.
the mascot of it. If it doesn't benefit them,
But that's where I was
if they're
like,
not leading the charge, they're not gonna do it.
you're gonna have people that want to be in it, or they're not gonna do it. And I was like, that's not the right reasons for me. I want the team to do it. It doesn't matter if someone's labeled a president or vice president. It's like we're in this together, and that's where I have the disagreements for it. It's like I know some people they're gonna want to put in more effort. Well, I did more work. It's like, dude, this is for the community. Well, I want my name on it.
Yeah.
Why does your name gotta be on it? Why can't we just name it console majors?
That's what I want to say. That's what I've been thinking for like a week now. Why I hate to say it, but like, if we ever want an official type of league, can't be Wild Boys official console league or Black Hole official console league or Scissor, just like a general basis type thing, which is why I thought having one main league would never work because they want their org name in it. That's the whole point. Like Brian wants to help the community, but he also needs like he's doing it for his business, Wild Boys, like his business organization thing. So as much as like he's helping, like oh my, like without Wild Boys, I mean leagues could be dead or it'd probably be half of what it is now. To be honest with you, I give him hella props. Like he does a ton, but he has to have his name on it and he'll do what benefits his business because that's just how it is. But I mean right now what he does for the business has helped the community, but I don't think we'll ever be able to be like let's all work together for the community without a name, like without our name being in it, which sucks, right? If we want like a big production league, like another hyper series, where games are casted all the time, every Tuesday and Thursday, that's when the games are, like that type of thing. It wouldn't, we can't have our name under it for it to work, I feel like, because there's just so many leagues right now. Like there's a lot of leagues and they all want to be like up there at the top. Like, Champions, when we told him the first time they weren't up there, he got mad and like left basically. Like that type of thing, right? Like instead of him wanting to work with the D1 leagues and trying to help, he wants his league to be up there at the top. Otherwise, he's not gonna. Uh, it just sucks, right? Like, I wish we can all band together and make something great. Like, that's, in my opinion, the only way production would be the best. Having three good casters, but three big leagues, we're not going to be able to cast every game. If you want every game to get casted and, like, storylines start getting made or players just start getting recognized, it has to be one big thing, which is why I made the point system so that we can round up what we have because no one's gonna stick to one thing. Round up the good things that we have into one thing together, which is why I named like the organization to save Siege or whatever I said. It's make something official, but together, like still have the separate leagues, which it's hard. It's pretty hard to do, but I'm trying my best. It's definitely not perfect. It's probably not even that good, but I'm trying my best.
You're
Hey.
just asking for consistency.
You're trying.
Exactly, right? Production's cool. Everyone tunes into Pro League. No one tunes into those like side league. I guess some people do, right? But like the Ubisoft tournaments and leagues, those are the ones that people go into because they know the players. No one goes into the T2 side leagues or whatever. Like I don't really know the name of PC leagues. Like if any of you guys have an example, but uh those like side leagues, I'm sure they have production, but the main production is the Ubisoft ones, right? We're never gonna get that. We're never gonna get
side
that.
leagues got some pretty good production.
Yeah,
The
I guess that's true. I've seen some of them,
Collegiate Vortex.
Yeah,
but like
AEL's got
Honestly,
some good production.
all of the like lower scale PC leagues like at a minimum run production.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It might not be as grand as you have a stage like Osh had.
And
It's
like,
still Osh,
yeah,
but
and like low for them is like 25, and that's a peak for us.
That's what I was about to say. One of their side leagues, or like, yeah, one of their side leagues is literally like our entire console scene as a whole, which is it's insane. So if we ever want some type of, even if it's just like the 25 consistent viewers, right? If we ever want something like that, where it's like a set production, in my opinion, it has to be one league. It has to be one league. Can't be a bunch of different separate ones, and that just won't happen, unfortunately. I would be so happy. I would love to help with statistics or help with like storylines and stuff like that, but with its multiple leagues, it's kind of hard to make storylines because it's like different stuff happening in each league, and no one wants to agree on which storyline's the most important because egos.
And well, and another thing, like one of the last few things is like I will say, like, if the point system does stick, like my biggest thing for no for the majors was jumping straight in it is a terribly shit idea. It's not something you just make in 6 months to a year. Like, I think the point system could establish that. You get that going. You
Exactly.
get that going. The three big leagues can work together during an off season and make a big tournament. And then we could have all three casters work together in one league and work. But it's like a lot of people, they don't want to. They don't want to see it through. They don't. They want to do it now. They want their name on it. They want this. They
Yeah.
want that. They don't want this. It's like this shit takes patience. Like, even then,
Think of it like this.
it's
Oh God,
console.
sorry, I
Oh, I
keep
would
cutting off.
say, yeah. Even then, it's console. Like, you can change it, but you're not gonna fix it. If that makes sense. Like, a lot of people like, well, to change it, it's like it's not gonna get no better. Console, like, people need to get it through their heads. Console is not gonna be recognized by Ubisoft. It's not gonna be recognized by Activision. They've been given their chances and they failed. It's proved to be a waste of money. It's proved the professionalism isn't there. But most of the consoles' age gap is 14 to 17, or like 14 to 19, like that young, immature adult. You know, PC's gonna be more professional and shit. Like, they have their random members, yes, but they're paying $2,000 to play this game. Like, that's what they're built.
Yeah.
Like, they built their shit. Like, they're gonna have a little more passion. They put in more money to play this. Whereas most of your console guys are casual. You know, I just came home from my 9 to 5 type of gamers, or I just got out of high school. It's like people need to I feel like if we can start to understand that, you can really actually turn console into maybe not like big time Hollywood, but it's like you can at least make it an enjoyable, bigger environment than it is.
Yeah. Your spiel.
And that's just one of my little like hot takes on it. But so, Stretch, after hearing everything, would you be down to see it through?
I mean, yeah, I welcome any change, really. I think that's what makes League exciting is having change. So I'm all for it.
Okay, okay. I've already said that. You know what? I would see it through. You know, a change. You know, so I'll see it through. If it fails, like I said, it might be my last time. Like, I'll hear other people out, but I won't want to be involved as far
Yeah.
as like a front line. Like, you know, you want to use the league, go for it, type of thing. But I feel like, you know what? If it don't work, what's the worst? It don't work.
Yeah.
It's like asking a girl or a guy out. What's the worst they gonna say is no. The worst that's gonna happen is the shit don't work.
I
I
think the
don't.
worst thing that could happen is me getting asked out by no one though. That's a tragedy. That would ruin my day.
I can't ask you out when I got Stretch
But
in
if
my
it was
lap.
Stretch though, yeah, if Stretch asked me out though, I'd be pretty
I got
happy.
Stretch all in my lap.
What?
What? But like, yeah, I just feel like if people would just quit harping on like why they don't want it and just say like, and I get some of the valid concerns out there, and I hope more genuine questions get asked and it doesn't get spammed up by a bunch of fucking like hate and random ass
No.
shit, because sometimes some people do make points in the council chat, but it gets spammed up by 15,000 rage baits.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very unproductive. And I'm not gonna say I'm the best contributor sometimes, but usually I only do the gifts and shit when people are already going at it.
Yeah.
But I was like, I wish some more like we could all be adults and just have like a genuine conversation about it a little more. It's kind of what
Yeah.
I would like to see. Even after this episode, it's like just ask your questions. 'Cause I try to get some people. What are some questions you want to ask? Like there are some people that just disagreed with it. All right, what are some questions you want me to ask Square? It's like I think I had like 6 people. I don't know. And it's like love you, dude, but you were so against it. Let's get some questions to ask them. Like,
Yeah.
cause like I asked some of my concerns. I voiced some of them. I didn't voice them all. Cause I was trying to let you explain it more this episode, and come maybe at the start of the season we'll bring you back, see how things are going, ask some more concerns, see if it even went anywhere, or the next step, from the next time.
Yeah.
But I think you said you're dropping a video on the mathematical part of the point system, right?
Yeah, that like last 5 minutes that I explained to you, it'd be more of like that type of stuff, where
Well,
it's like the points and stuff.
when
It
is
kind of be like that.
that video coming out?
So I do have a question for you first, because the stuff that I explained to you at first, when I was ranting there for like 20 minutes, unfortunately not letting you guys talk, which I'm sorry about, but it'd be the first little bit would be like that, but actually organized because I don't have to say it on the fly. I'd be able to like go back and delete stuff. But my question to you is, after we talked about what we did today, do you think I should keep stuff like the format and everything the way I have it now, or do you think I should talk? I mean, it's gonna be hard, but talk with the council and see if there's a way to improve the D2 part of thing, or like the D2 side of things, make it more open before January, because January is when this starts, and we're already, I mean, a week into December. Uh, I don't think D1 needs much tweaking, but I think after that, I mean, do I just let my thing ride, do my system, and if it doesn't work, it might just die, or should I get feedback from everyone else like this week and then make a video on it afterwards?
So like I like stretches for take on the D2, like with the testing new rules, new implications, new production styles. Like I do like that. And it's like I think if you don't like that, or at least don't see the impact, I won't say don't. Okay, I won't say if you don't like that, but I'll say if you don't see that the impact that could have, I think you're part of the problem.
Oh no, I definitely see the impact on that. So like my point system isn't requiring any format. It just, like I said to, let's say, Shady, right? Because he's remaking Scissor. I said you can do your league how you want, but just be open with the format to me in advance so that I can adjust my point system. So I am totally cool with like these cool changes, like Stretch was bringing up, like you're doing with Black Hole. Those type of changes, even completely different format changes, I'm totally open for that. I'm not going to tell you how to run your leagues. I'm not going to tell you to do stuff basic, but I need to know the format in advance. Like I'm not limiting that part. The only thing I'm limiting is the basically relegation system, which is what the point system is. It's basically relegation to help the competition and help lower teams want to work for something since they can't really win leagues yet. So yeah, what you said there, I mean, I love that. The map banning thing, I think that is like really cool, and that's gonna make me like because Black Hole right now is like in my opinion, it's the most basic league. I mean, it's the most basic. Like, here's the definition of leagues. Here it is. It's like the middle ground of everything, right? But adding that will have something that will stand out. It'll make it more exciting, and it'll make me care about the games more. So I think each team, like you guys said, having its own niche is really cool.
Mm-hmm. I get what you're saying, but I mean, at this point in time, I think every league is a little like,
Every
Stale.
league should adopt it.
yeah, every
'Cause, I
league
mean,
is a
they're
little niche right now. Like champions,
not right now. I wouldn't say it's niche.
no, well, I mean, not.
When you get down to the nitty gritty, I think leagues should be more diverse than what they
Yeah,
are
the
right now.
diverse. Well, that's what I meant. I meant every league right now is kind of the middle ground. Like, to be honest, champions fell off a minute ago. SSL chat's only active because people have been there for 5 years and they just rage bait each other, and it's really, if you break it down, it's the same people talking.
Mm.
Hmm.
So I
I
was
just
like,
feel like
and they've been doing the same. If anything, SSL has actually done less. Like, they're less in detail with their stats, their production. They've stepped down. Champions have stepped down. I mean, Wild Boys, I don't know. They're still pretty new. Haven't paid attention that much. So I was like, everybody's kind of the middle ground.
yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, like, out of the bigger leagues, right? I guess Wild Boys stands out just because, like, it was the first to be Liquipedia. Brian has it, big league, whatever. Woo! And it's Swiss. And then Scissors, yes, it's more bland, but
Wa-
it's like
Wild Boys
the
Rush was
thing.
Swiss. It was before
But
WCL.
all the other leagues kind of looked upon, like Sin League and like Galaxy League and stuff. People will just like put in their subs and not really care, like no impact. But yours is like it's out of the three, or like out of all the leagues, it's the only one that's like cared about. That's like super basic, if that makes sense. Like people will like care whether they win or lose your games because it's like one of the upper leagues. But in my opinion, there's not really anything like super niche to your league. I mean, none of them have something super niche, but uh, yours is. I hate to say, I feel bad kind of saying it, but it's more basic, but people still care about it.
It wasn't so basic at a time. I used to be one of the most consistently production with the YouTube pages, but everybody on my team just decided to fucking fall off the earth.
Yeah.
They all found
Yeah.
their own team shit and figured that was more important. But hey, it's
Yeah.
for another day.
I don't know. I just feel like I kind of hate to say this as well, but it's not my job to do the niche part of things, right? The whole point of me making the councils, I don't own a league.
Well,
I don't own an
yeah,
org.
the niche ain't your part because you're not the league. It's the
Yeah,
individuality
exactly.
of the league.
Exactly. I'm just there. That's why I put judge on my name. Yeah, I own the server. Funny, haha. But like, uh, I'm kind of just trying to be like a middle grounds person where I can see people's ideas and try to like make it into something. But since no one was doing anything, I made the point system because it's not like I have like I'm not like biased. Oh, I'm gonna make this league more important than the other ones because I'm just kind of like a middle ground guy who likes comp, who's trying to start something so that the other people that actually do run stuff can give me feedback, right?
Mm-hmm.
It sucks because no one gives me feedback besides this sucks or yeah, I'll write it out.
I'll try, but then I feel like after the first couple of weeks, I just feel like, okay, this is kind of pointless because I'll get feedback back to your feedback, and it's like it's just two people having a conversation, and it just gets to a point where it's
Opie,
like,
Opie did, like a few people did, right? Opie kind of gives feedback. I feel like his was a little more bashy, but you give feedback. But there's a few others in there that kind of just I'm not gonna name all the names,
he
but
speaks up the most when you bring up Nebula, by the way. If you want to get
yeah,
his
he's
feedback.
biased.
Well, no, I
He's
was
a little
gonna say
biased with
that,
that
but I
part.
was gonna say
With Nebula.
if you want to get him worked up, tell him Nebula's D2.
I'm gonna be like we're gonna narrow team narrow Or no, we're gonna change one of the D1 teams. We're gonna bring up Zave and put down Nebula in the D2, and
Yeah,
he's gonna
you get a
go. He's gonna get
response.
furious, and it'll be.
But anyways, we can wrap it up. I think we're at 2 hours. Holy shit.
Yeah, yeah, it was a long one.
Fucking
A lot of important stuff, and me yapping
square
because
the
that's what I do.
yapper. Stretch
Hey,
is
I
gonna
did yapping for like 45 minutes, and then
Stretch
the
is
rest
gonna
of it
kill
was
me.
kind of all talking.
He's gonna beat my ass. Had him too long.
Too.
It's past his
We
bedtime.
stretch.
Yeah,
You said do what?
you're gonna kick my ass. I've had you too long.
No, stretch is already in bed over here.
He's probably laying down. He's gonna fall asleep in here.
I got a camera in my room or something.
Ah!
No,
gotta-
I'm just in your room.
I got to watch that dog
I say
somehow.
I turned off the heater and laid in my bed 5 minutes ago.
That's what I'm talking about. But anyways, we'll wrap it here. We'll see y'all next Sunday. Actually, I don't know who's next because I think Stampy's. I think Revan I might do on Sunday, then Stampy throughout the week or later. Depends on if we can meet him or not. I have to check back, but it's either gonna be Revan or Stampy.
Mm-hmm.
No spoilers, but anyways, until next time, guys. Toodles.
Toodles.